everyone, my name is Sarah and today I have got a book haul! I am so excited about all these books I've accumulated. I cannot wait to read them and chat about them. Some of them will be released early next year and some of them are recent releases. So yeah, let's dive into it. The first book I have to share with you is Highway Buddies by Alison Evans. This is Alison's second book. It's Love Was YA, it's queer, it has zombies. Honestly, what's not to love? I am obsessed with Alison's first novel, Ida, which came out last year. It's queer, it has doppelgangers, it's set in Melbourne, it's spooky. Honestly, it is everything I could have wanted in a book. Highway Buddies will be released in February and I may have already read it because I helped Alison with the cover reveal. And let me tell you this, it is one heck of a roller coaster ride. You won't want to put this one down. I absolutely loved the group dynamics. I love how it's set in Australia again. I love supporting Love Us YA authors. So Highway Buddies, if you want to pick this one up, please do. This is a book that you'll just obsess over for the rest of time. The next book I have on my pile is Unported, which is a proof and is being released next February. I really hope I'm saying that title right because I'm not very good at French. I've never studied it. Hopefully that's not a requirement for reading this book, but nevertheless, I'm very excited. And look at this gorgeous cover. Look at the gold and the red. I know this story will be just as beautiful inside. From what I've heard, this book is for fans of Caraval and the Night Circus. I have not read The Night Circus, and Caraval was a little bit hit and miss for me, but I'm really hoping I love Unported. I've heard it's also full of romance and magic, and I love both of those things in novels, so I really hope this one lives up to the hype. The next book I have to share with you is Four Dead Queens, and if you haven't heard of this one, where have you been? Everyone has been talking about this upcoming novel, and I'm so excited to read it. Astrid is an Aussie author, but Four Dead Queens is being published basically everywhere, America and Australia for sure, and I think it's sold in some other territories, which is really exciting. I've heard that Four Dead Queens is a little bit like The Red Queen or Three Dark Crowns. I haven't read either of those, but I've always been really interested in them, so I just can't wait to see what Four Dead Queens is actually like. I've heard spectacular things from other people who have already read Four Dead Queens. It does come out in March, so keep an eye out for a copy then. I know that once I sit down and open the first page, I'm not gonna want to leave that spot. I'm gonna just want to binge read this book. I know I'm gonna be kept on the edge of my seat and I just can't wait to experience this whole world and the magic, and it's gonna be perfect. The next book on my pile is Fated by Terry Terry, and this cover may look a little bit familiar if you've read Slated. I didn't even know this book was a thing until like last week, but it is a prequel to the Slated series, which I really enjoyed. I read that series when I was like 16, so this feels like a throwback book for me, you know, like how they revisited the Shadow Me series and the Maradaya series. I feel like Terry Terry is doing this again, but I'm really excited. I really enjoyed this series. Hopefully this one lives up to my expectations, and maybe I'll like reread the trilogy as well after I've read this prequel. I can hardly remember anything about it. All that I can recall is it's kind of in a futuristic society where people have their memories wiped. But I do remember absolutely loving it. It kept me on the edge of my seat. I wanted to know what happened next. I was always like going to the bookstore and wanting to buy the next book. So hopefully this novel will bring back all of those feelings and I can go back and reread the original trilogy. Again, keep an eye out for this one in March. The next book I have is Love, Lie, Repeat by Catherine Greer. I have absolutely no idea what this book is about, but I'm super intrigued and I love that proof cover, so of course I have to give it a go. I heard a little bit about this one briefly at a YA showcase I went to and it just sounds phenomenal. I heard that it's like lush and chilling and intoxicating. And if that's not everything I want in a book, I don't know what is. I really hope this book is as creepy as I believe it to be because I love those types of novels. This also looks like a really quick read, so I know I'm just gonna devour this one in one sitting and I can't wait to share my thoughts with you. This one is also a March release, so make sure you check it out then. Next, I have a finished copy of Dear Evan Hansen, the novel based on the amazing musical that I'm just obsessed with. I read Dear Evan Hansen a little while ago because I received a proof from the publishers. Thank you, Penguin, but I just loved it so much, so I knew I would have to go out and buy a finished copy. Oh, I haven't even looked inside. Look at that. If you haven't heard of Dear Evan Hansen before, it is basically a musical about an anxious teen whose therapist advises him to write letters to himself every day. The letters start off, "Dear Evan Hansen, today is going to be a good day and here's why." But at his school, the school bully finds one of these letters that he printed off and takes it home, and then later that day he dies by suicide. When this boy's family finds this note to Evan, they assume that Connor and Evan were really close and really good friends. Evan kind of gets caught up in this web of lies. He wants to impress this family and he has a crush on Connor's sister, and it just gets really out of hand. Dear Evan Hansen is such a heart-wrenching, beautiful musical. The songs are just gorgeous. I really, really want to see this one performed one day, but in the meantime, the novelization is like enough for me. If you're a fan of the musical, you have to pick up Dear Evan Hansen, and vice versa. If you've never heard of it before, read the book, listen to the musical, and fall in love with it in the way that I did. Next, I have a very large expanse of sea. Look at that cover, it's beautiful. How could I not buy a copy? For those of you that have read Shatter Me, you'll be familiar with this author's work. I absolutely love her writing style, and hopefully I will love A Very Large Expanse of Sea as well. This novel follows the life of a Muslim teen who's just moved to a new high school after 9/11. This girl is going through a really tough situation, and then she meets someone who is a little bit like her. Beyond that, I don't really know what this book is about, but it just sounds really amazing, and of course I have to read it. I love to hear her, so yes, I need this book in my life. Again, this looks like a really quick read, one that I'll just devour, and I'm really looking forward to diving into it. Next up, I have Put In by Julie Murphy, which is the sequel or companion novel to Dumplin'. You might know that Dumplin' was recently made into a Netflix movie, and it was so good, you guys. Oh my god, it was just amazing. Dumplin' follows the life of a plus-size teen named Willowdean who enters a beauty pageant after basically being told that she doesn't stand a chance of winning. It is such a beautiful film about body positivity and confidence and being brave enough to be the person you really are and not caring about what anyone else thinks. It was just such an affirming movie. I loved every second of it. I was subbing basically the whole time. It was just so lovely. So I have really high hopes for Put In, which follows the life of one of Willow's friends who is also a plus-size teen. Cannot wait to see this character take the spotlight because she was one of my favorite people from the film, and I cannot wait to read it and share my thoughts with you. The second to last book on my pile is The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding by Alexandra Bracken. I have heard such amazing things about this book, especially around Halloween, because it's like a little creepy, spooky novel. You all know I love those types of books, and just look at that cover. How could I not be intrigued? The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding is about this boy named Prosper, whose great something grandfather made a deal with a demon, and now he has this demon living inside of him. When Prosper realizes this, he doesn't have long to break the curse. Every day this demon living inside of him grows stronger, and he has to work out a way to banish it forever. I'm just really excited to read this book. I know it would have been the perfect Halloween read, but I'm gonna read it now anyways, and I can't wait to share my thoughts about it. And last but not least, I have The Afterlife of Holly Chase, which is a Christmas themed read and definitely very on point for this month. The Afterlife of Holly Chase is a book about a girl named Holly who on Christmas Eve 5 years ago was visited by 3 ghosts. They attempted to tell her how selfish and spoiled she'd become, but she didn't listen to them, and then she died. Now she is stuck working for this organization as like the latest ghost of Christmas past, and she hates her life. I'm just super intrigued about this book from that premise. I haven't read the novel that it is based off of, which is A Christmas Carol, but I've heard really good things about it. I've just heard this is the perfect festive read, and I'm always looking for more of those, so I'm looking forward to reading it on Christmas Eve. So these are all the books that I recently bought or received. I cannot wait to get around to reading all of these. I've heard such amazing things about them, and I will definitely be sharing my thoughts once I've read them. But that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Have you read any of these books, or have you got any on your TBR? I would love to hear your thoughts. See you next time. Bye everyone!